12, The Elements of Great Managing, is a business management book co-authored by Roger Wagner and James Harter. It's based on research conducted by Gallup, which identified the 12 key characteristics that make a great manager. The 12 elements of great managing are by no means innovative or secret elements that only great managers know of. They are all basic first-order principles of being a great manager. So it gets a 4 out of 5 head tilts. But those first-order principles are also what I think makes the book so powerful. As a general rule, we all need consistent reminders of first-order principles in any area of life because, as human beings, we tend to be forgetful and only fix symptoms, not causes that create conflict. And these principles tend to solve not just first, but second, third, and fourth-order consequences. Some of the elements in this book are things like element 1, making sure your staff knows what is expected of them. Great managers set clear expectations for their employees and provide them with the necessary resources to meet those expectations. Poor managers usually think their employees should use some common sense or know things already without ever being told. Element 9, committed to doing quality work. Great managers hold their employees accountable for their actions and create a culture of responsibility. Poor managers usually operate off of the concept that if they say something once, they shouldn't have to follow up, and even worse, a lot of managers don't even identify the consequences up front for what might happen if their employees don't live up to their responsibilities. Probably because a lot of times there aren't any. The manager just bitches and moans to others about employees without going to the cause, and that just reinforces to their staff that nothing bad will ever happen if they don't do what is expected of them. Element 4, give praise and recognition. Great managers recognize and celebrate their employees' successes and contributions. Poor managers think that a paycheck should be all the motivation someone needs to do their work. The other 9 elements are similar in common sense, but I tell you, the authors have delivered the 12 elements in such a way that if you or one of your managers read it, they will be in awe of the power and simplicity they all have when applied together. Here's some of the excerpts from the book that really jumped out for me. You have to be picky. If you're not picky, the little flaws start becoming acceptable. You only get what you inspect, not what you expect. One of the 12 elements, whether a person has the materials and equipment needed to do his work well, is the strongest indicator of job success. The managers that are best at getting the most from people are those who give the most to them. There is one particular element that I feel is worth mentioning, and in my opinion, it's the most controversial and one of the most at risk in disappearing in today's work culture, the 10th element, a best friend at work. It has some powerful data to show how employee morale and retention and overall job satisfaction is directly related to having at least one coworker that employee considers a close friend. But this element, I think, is at risk in today's world because of the increase in remote work, which makes it harder to bond with coworkers, and perhaps even more, the fact that companies are now making anti-relationship policies the norm. Companies today are so worried about receiving sexual harassment claims that they're trying to prevent all the forms of personal connection between employees. When you figure that coworkers are spending nearly 1/3 of their lives together and nearly 1/2 of their waking lives together, the notion that they won't develop some sort of connection from social friendships to deep loving relationships is like trying to hold back the tides. In fact, another excerpt from the book in this chapter, I think, said it best. In the battle between company policy and human nature always wins. This book addresses how to protect your company and your employees from dangerous situations, but also how to encourage healthy friendships and relationships that might occur due to the force of human nature. Controversial? Yeah, probably, but well worth getting some contrarian viewpoints before you start implementing unrealistic and unenforceable policies in your company. Check it out. And if you're so inspired, please share the parts that you found really valuable in the comments below. And don't forget to recommend some books for me. I'm always on the lookout for my next book review. Speaking of which, I've got some other great book reviews I'll be releasing shortly for John Maxwell's 25 Ways to Win with People, Deep Work with Cal Newport, and Turnover is Vanity, Profit is Sanity by Dan Bradbury. If you want me to notify you when they're released, then make sure to subscribe to the channel so you'll be the first to know when they drop. Until then, let's all try a little harder to be a little better. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch that book review. If you liked it, I think you might like this one as well. Check it out.